Well, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jonathan and this is Mr. Pearson Talks Books. We're gonna do a tag today. This is a tag that I saw on a couple different places online, but it was originally created by someone named Allison and her channel is Allison Annotated. And this is called the BookTuber's Role Tag, which I think is kind of interesting because it looks at what role do we as booktubers, I consider myself a booktuber, what role do we play in the grand scheme of things as far as books and book reviews go? It kind of came about because the Washington Post recently closed down their book review section. And I think it was the last one that had been actively running. And so this caused a little bit of stir among people who like books. I'll be honest, I didn't notice. I haven't read the Washington Post in a very long time, but I know it got a lot of people concerned, so that's why Allison came up with this tag. So I have a few questions. I don't have all of the questions that she did. I kind of modified it a little bit, but you can go check out her video. I'll put a link to it so you can see her original one if you'd like. Question number 1. How do you view your role as a booktuber? Are you a critic, a curator, an influencer, an entertainer, an educator, or simply a book friend? Well, as I was thinking about this, I think that I am a bit of an educator and a book friend. When I originally started this channel, I think some of you may know this, I started because I wanted to encourage other teachers, other elementary school teachers like myself, encourage them to find good books to share with students and with parents and with other teachers, because one of the questions we get a lot of is, what are some books that my kids should be reading? And so I wanted that to be the focus of my channel, was finding books for my students, and so that I can make recommendations when they come up. Now, of course, over the last year and a half or so, the focus of the channel has shifted a bit, but I still read the bulk of my reading is middle grade. So I think I'm an educator, but I'm also a book friend, because I read books and I want to tell other people about them. And because people at school don't necessarily always read the same books that I read, my wife doesn't read the same books that I read, this is a good venue for me to be able to talk about the books that I've read and share them with other people who might be interested in reading them. So that's how I view my role as a booktuber. Question number 2 was, do you have an educational background in literature or literary criticism? Well, my bachelor's degree was in elementary education, but I do have a minor in English. Now, it was primarily writing and grammar, but I did take a number of English or literature courses, including a class on American Romanticism. Don't remember a great deal about it, but it did help to foster my love for reading. But do I have any actual literary criticism education? No. I do this simply because I love books, because I am a teacher and I know what 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students like to read and should be reading. That's why I recommend the books that I do. Question 3. Do your reviews focus more on objective qualities like pacing and plot, or subjective opinions like feelings and relatability? To be honest, on this one, I think it's a little bit of a combination of both. Now, I am very careful when I critique or when I talk about a book, because I realize that the author of the book has done something that I have never done, and that's write a book. I know how much work goes into writing a 5-paragraph essay. I can only imagine the amount of work and skill that it takes to write a book that is hundreds of pages long. So I am very careful about critiquing things like pace and plot, because I've never done those things. But if a book is slow, or it's boring, or There was a book I read recently, I won't tell you what it was. Some of the analogies that the author used were just so bad that I actually had to stop reading the book. I did not do a review on that book either because I couldn't. It was so bad in my opinion. And that leads me to this, where I think my reviews are more how I felt about the book, how they made me feel. Did I think it was a good book? Was it enjoyable? Not necessarily on the nuts and bolts, more what's the experience going to be like when you read this book. All right, question number 4. Where do you get your reading recommendations? And this one is a little bit of a deviation away from Allison's original question. Where do I get my book recommendations? Well, I do watch a number of YouTube videos. I've made some friends. Sean Stevenson, mention him a lot. Nikki from My Messy Bookshelf, Ben and Lauren at The Youngs and the Restless, folks like that. So I look to see what they are reading and what they recommend. I also spend a lot of time on Goodreads. I know there are some people who don't like Goodreads. I happen to enjoy it. I go there and I see, I record the books that I have read, keep track of them that way. I also look and see what other people are recommending on there. If there's a book that I'm interested in, I'll look it up on Goodreads, see what other people think about it. And I hate to admit this, but I am a sucker for a prize. And Goodreads knows this because they have these virtual bookmarks. And I have read a number of books that I would not read, and some of them I wish I hadn't read, just because I want to get the bookmark. Now, it's not even a real bookmark. It's just a digital bookmark on the screen. But I will pick a book off of the list and read it because I want that bookmark. Now, sometimes, like in the case of Remarkably Bright Creatures, I read that, loved it, thought it was great, and that was a bookmark book. Other books, like All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby, was not one that I enjoyed, and the only reason I read it was because it was on a Goodreads list. I also look on Amazon and see, like, if there's a book that I see at the bookstore, I'll look it up on Amazon, and there'll be other books that other customers have purchased. Sometimes I'll do that as well. All right, question 5. Do you review every book you read? And are there reasons you might read a book but choose not to review it? The answer is yes and no. I don't do a dedicated video to every book that I read, primarily because I read a lot of books and I just don't have time to record and edit and post a video for every book that I read. So that's the no. The yes is I do a lot of wrap-up videos where I talk about the books that I had read in the previous month. And so I will give a short synopsis and talk about the books that way, say whether I enjoyed them or not, and so on. I'll be honest, I typically enjoy most of the books that I read, with the exception of a very few. If I'm not enjoying a book, I'm just not going to read it because there are far too many books to read to waste my time reading something that I'm not enjoying. And are there reasons that you might read a book and choose not to review it? I might not review a book if it was one that I couldn't say nice things about. So for example, there was one that I read called Darkly by Marcia Pessel, I believe is her name. And it was not a book that I enjoyed. I read it, again, because I was trying to get that bookmark from Goodreads, but it was not a book I enjoyed, so I did not make a review video of it. I talked about it later in a wrap-up video, but I did not make a review. So if I'm not enjoying the book or I can't say something nice about it, probably not going to make a review video of it. And then the last question that I wrote down here is, what do you hope your audience takes away from your videos? Well, like I said at the beginning, I started this channel because I wanted teachers and parents to have a resource to go to find books for their students to read. Now, of course, this channel has shifted a little bit, and now I talk about all kinds of books as opposed to just middle grade books. But I hope that people take away suggestions, recommendations, knowing that the book that I am talking about is something that they're going to enjoy. I am a Christian. I'm a believer, and because of that, I live my life by a certain set of guidelines and a certain set of rules that we find in the scriptures. And in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, there's a whole list of things that it tells us that we should think about, whether it's honest, whether it's lovely, whether it's trustworthy, and so on. And those are the types of books that I try to read and recommend. So I hope people take away knowing that the books that I'm going to recommend are going to be good for them. Not necessarily wholesome, like these are not like sit down and read to your kids before bedtime books all the time, but books that I have thought about and consider that, yeah, this is a book that I can recommend with a good conscience. I also hope people take away that I really like books, that I enjoy talking about them. I hope they have fun when they watch my videos, because I enjoy making them. And if I'm coming across as boring or dispassionate about the books, then why would anybody, one, want to read the book, or two, want to come back and watch my videos? So there you are. There is my thoughts on the BookTuber Role Tag. I realize that there is a little bit of, got to be careful so we won't come across as conceited as being like, yeah, I'm a booktuber, you should listen to me, kind of thing. But at the same time, I read the books. I want to share those things, and hopefully that is conveyed, and hopefully folks are finding good books to read as a result. I am gonna, I think I mentioned them already, but I'm gonna tag Nikki from My Messy Bookshelf. If you haven't already done this one, I know you love your book tags. I'm gonna tag you in it. Sean Stevenson, I'm going to tag you in this as well, because you always have some insightful stuff. And Ben and Lauren at the Youngs and the Restless. I don't know if you do book tags, but I'm going to tag you anyway, just in the hopes that you might, because it might be fun to hear what you have to say. But anyway, so there you go. Those are my thoughts. Leave your thoughts down in the comments as to what you think about this. And as always, my name is Jonathan. This is Mr. Pearson Talks Books. And we'll see you next time.